Alright guys, real quick video. Just want to show you guys the work that we were doing with the bender here and the modifications we've made since I put the new jack in it. One of the main things we had to do was the actual release bolt, or the fluid release, was a pain in the ass with the original setup with the bar with the two rods coming out of it. So took it out, put it on the mill, and machined a little hex head in it. We got just a 1/4 inch wrench now. To use it, I ground off the handle and I rough ground this edge so it wouldn't dig into the top here. Now we can throw almost 98 degrees with this setup. Ram's definitely leaking a tiny bit, but really doesn't matter. It's doing some pretty quality stuff. The faceplate's the faceplate. The major thing we did was we took a lot of time before we made our first couple bends, and I'll show them to you in the car. So we had the main hoop in place, not tacked in, or just tacked in, but we'll show you what we did. And I think the best thing is buying these guys. I don't particularly care for focus, damn it. Alright, got the focus on it. I got two kinds of these. I got kinds that slip on the pipe and magnetic down, and I got flat ones too. And they're all gem red, but that's really not saying anything. That's just the brand I bought originally because it was cheap, and I just rebought them more. So no real reason for those, but they're all gem red ones. And basically what we did to start this out, just to, because the biggest fear was the spring back and knowing your angles that you actually had to throw. So what we did was we put one of them here. We put one of them on the pipe that we were bending, and we put the other one on the ass end of the pipe that we were bending. And what we did is, from 15 degrees onwards, we would bend it 5 degrees and release it and see what the angle was on this one versus the back one, and on the one on the front of the pipe versus the back one. And we did that all the way up to 95 degrees. And it's gonna look like shit, sorry, but and with that, we were able to graph it. And this is the setup where we compared the angle gauge on the front of the tube to the angle gauge on the back of the tube every time we released. We have this really linear curve here from 15 degrees all the way up to 90 degrees. Got a little screwy at the top there, but we're able to get this formula out of it too. You guys can see that. And here's just our trial runs. We did a few trials of this, and this just the averages at the end of the day. How much spring back we get every 5 degrees. So you have to bend to it in order to get a 5 degree bend. You have to bend 1.39 degrees or 1.4 degrees more. Then at the bottom, we did it so if you input the angle that you want, it just uses the actual slope formula that we got, and it tells you the angle you actually have to bend in order to get that angle. And the formula, I'll try to post it online, but it's up there in the formula box if you want to do this yourself. I'm assuming if you're using 1 3/4 tubes, 0.95 with this bender, with this 7-inch shoe, it should all be the same. It's steel. And the steel itself isn't going to be that much different. It's not going to vary. This chart, sadly, this is off of the face angle finder, and as you can see, it's definitely more exponential, and it starts losing it. It starts losing it there, but here it's kind of exponential, how much it extra bends. And I think what's happening there is because how this is positioned with this bracket here. This bracket gives a little bit, and as this gets stretched holding the pipe, the pipe doesn't make full contact up there. So it loses some of its accuracy. But it's still repeatable for a large majority of its range, and we have that there as well. So if we have a pipe that we're bending that we can't put a lot of stick out on, where we have, you know, a stick out in front, we can always do this, and we have an accurate way to keep doing that as well. And it worked out pretty well. I don't think you need one on the back after the initial test, after you see where your actual spring back is. At that point, I think you're good to go. One thing we're going to do, or one thing we have to do, I'll show you we try to get the light in there, and I'll show you the part that we actually got in the car. This is the car it's going in right now. And here's our main hoop. We just tacked it in place real quick on the ceiling just to get it in line where we wanted it. And we terminated it within it's within half a degree pinched outwards towards the wall from in. So that's 4 bends. That's a 30-degree bend. That's a 60-degree bend. That's a reciprocal 60-degree bend, and a 30-degree and the other 30-degree bend behind the chair there. So we were able to keep within half a degree as far as the overall springback issues, and I think we can limit that. One thing that we notice is in the plane going this direction, in and out, we're near a degree off from where this one is to where the other leg is over there. So it's twisted about a degree, which that brings us to our next thing we got to do. It's not bad. We can compensate that and bend it a little bit to make it work. But for the next one, and for everything following it, I'll do a more in-depth preview about this car. It's a pretty awesome little car for what it is, and especially considering no one's ever really probably even seen it before. We'll go a little more in depth on the Isuzu Impulse, which is an awesome little car for what it is. Those guys really built some crazy shit back in the late 80s, early 90s. But that's the one thing that's the next thing we have to accomplish, is figuring out how to keep the bar perfectly straight with the shoe as we're bending the second and third angles in this thing in a repeatable way, especially because my bar's coming up here. I got to come up and do a double bend, have to bend inwards and that way, and then bend back out and straight to go back connect. So we need a good way to do that. And I think my friend that's helping me with this, Sharif, he came up with the idea to use U-bolts, which is great. I'm going to machine a little plate that goes over the top part of it. We'll throw one of these fuckers on the way back, so we can have that always keyed in. To go with this, the other thing we were doing was figuring out how we're going to cope all the tubing that we have to cope. And, you know, I don't really dig the little tube coping tools that they have that just strap to the bench or whatever. And, I mean, we don't really even have to do that because... Let me get this light on. We got this big rigid lathe here. And basically I just took my AXA tool holder, I modified one a little bit, make it a little fatter, and I just made 2 pieces of aluminum, just milled it out. It's pretty rough this right now, but milled it out, and it slips the tube in it really well. Got 2 bolts to lock it down, so you got a lot of rigidity. You have a lot of extra rigidity because you have so much space between your two clamps here, and you have two pressing surfaces on two rails to lock it in place and lock it very straight. So it stays very straight and rigid. Then you can adjust this up and down to meet center line. And the other thing we tried is, I was trying the hole saw that everyone uses, and those things are fucking scary bad. So instead we're going with an annular cutter, because we have the rigidity and we have the strength of this. So we got the annular cutter in here, and these are Milwaukee annular cutters, and I got them super cheap actually. They're like $50 on Amazon right now. Guy doesn't have too many left, but I bought two. I might buy some more because that's like stupid cheap for an 1 3/4 annular cutter. And this bastard just cuts the tube like no one's business. Doesn't even care that it's there, especially because the setup's so rigid. I'm pushing into it, so we have all this behind it to act as the rigidity of it. This whole cast system. So versus the little bronze bushing and rod with the pipe clamp that the normal cheaper, you know, pipe coping setup is, it's night and day difference. The other thing is we have all the angles we need to throw on the lathe because it's a lathe, so it's set up to throw angles, so we can turn this any angle that we need to get the angles that we want, and then we can position the bars in the air. That's where these U-bolt things are going to come into effect as well, to make sure everything stays the way we need it to stay. And yeah, that's it right now in the setup. Just wanted to give an overview of where we're at and where we've gone to. Oh, the other thing is the base. I said I was going to weld it to these the two rims. Did that. Put some more steel under it just because I wanted it a little higher in the air. And then I just bolted it on. Welded them down, bolted it through, drilled 4 holes. And it's on there. I try to do mounting feet. They're not working so hot, so. But the idea was if we can stabilize it, then we can take all of our measurements, or we can take all of our angle finders and zero them off of the shoe, which is what we are doing and trying to do, just to give us that little bit extra consistency and accuracy. And really the hardest thing with this bender is the bender definitely works, it bends, but to accurately re-bend something or to accurately bend something the way you want it to, it's very hard with its initial setup. These things are fairly cheap. They're like $15 or something like that, and if you get 2 or 3 of them in your life, that's like more than you need. I have way too many of them right now. But if you get a few of them, you can definitely use this machine more accurately just with those. So it would be the first thing I would say to get if you get one of these machines is just these angle finders. And yeah, then from there, it's a dream to have the air ram or the air assisted ram. It just makes it so much easier to get it up to where you need it to be. And it gives you just more control over everything, I think. And yeah, that's it. I'll show you guys the next one when we bend some more tubing. Hopefully we're actually bending the tube, not right now. I just want to do a quick little update on this because I put out the really long video of me putting this thing fucking together, because that was a pain in the ass. But that's how it goes right now. We're just going as we go, trying to get something nice, trying to do something consistent. That's the name of the game here. Be consistent so we can make a nice, safe final product for this thing. And you know, right now it's working out. So that's it for this one. Real quick video. That's what we're hoping to do here. I know it's not the natural with this, but quick video. I'll do a bigger one on the Impulse to show you guys some of the cool things this car has. It's a pretty awesome car. I know it's just a shitty shell right now, but it's a sweet little car. Alright guys, that's it for now.